Alhamdulillah wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Today we're continuing our class on the concise presentation of the fiqh. Today is episode 76 of the class. Tonight is the night of the 9th of Dhul, 1445, and it is the 15th of May 2024. I believe we're going from page 496 in the book, and the topic is called pawning.
تفضل.
Lexically, the word rahan means retaining. It is said something is rahan when it is permanent and confirmed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says,
كل نفس بما كسبت رهينة.
every person is a pledge, wahina, for what he has earned. As a technical term, it refers to pawning, wherein somebody leaves some form of wealth with another as collateral for a loan that is to be kept by the creditor if the debtor is not able to repay his debt.
Basically, Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalam ala rasulillah. Ar-Rahn, the pawning, person who wants to lend somebody money, but he's not sure, maybe he's not going to bring it back. So this is like an assurance for him. So he will ask for that person who is going to be the one in debt, give me something in case you don't pay, and I have something there as something that would hold until you pay your loan back. And this type of transaction is being made to facilitate the debt, because not everybody can credit everybody just like this. So that is why this is from the mu'amalat, the transactions, which is to facilitate the dealing between the people, called pawning, ar-rahm. Then we need to understand the issue fiqh about this, inshallah. So if, for example, a person, he had taken 2 loans from another person, and he put a pawning, he pawned something for one of them, not for the second one. And those 2 loans are the same. Let's say he borrowed £10,000 and £10,000. He pawned one house for one of them, but the other one, he did not pawn anything. The other guy did not ask him, the creditor. So when he wanted to pay back, he went to pay back and he paid the 10,000, and he did not specify which is the one of the loans. Is it the one which has been pawned or which is not? And the other guy who was the creditor did not ask. Later on, the person who is in debt asked for his pawned thing. So the other person said, you didn't pay for the second loan. He said, well, I paid for the loan which is pawned. I did not pay for the loan which is not pawned. But there is no proof here on both any side. Which saying is the saying that will be taken by the judge in Islam? It's the saying of the person who is the one in debt, because he is the one who pawned. And if the other guy who is the one, the creditor, did not specify that, did not ask, are you paying me for which? The one which is pawned or not? Then it's definitely the judge will take the saying, the one who's in debt. I paid you, brother, the loan which has been pawned. And the one hasn't been pawned, still I have to pay it. Fine. Now we're coming to the legality of it. Further.
Its legality, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said,
وَإِن كُنْتُمْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ وَلَمْ تَجِدُوا كَاتِبًا فَرِهَانٌ مَقْبُوضَةٌ.
and if you are on a journey and cannot find a scribe, then let there be a pledge taken. The verse specifically mentions while on a journey, but that is only stated because it is the most common case.
Right. So this word, ala safar, they say it's been taken onto what was being done as in general and all the time. And that is the people when they are on journey and they want to borrow from each other. That is why when the people are not sure, so they will take something in case he doesn't pay. But this doesn't mean pawning is only in the journey. So the scholars, they say that this word safar is being coming here into the ayah because the transaction of this rahn was taking place most of the time while the people are travelers. But actually, we do know that the Prophet of Allah, he had his shield being pawned by the Jewish person who had given him some food before he died. So on that, he was not a traveler. He was in the city. He was living in Medina. So the pawning is nothing to do with traveling or not traveling. So the ayah, it gives us the legality of it. Coming to Aisha radiallahu anha, tafadhal.
For example, Aisha radiallahu anha narrated the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam bought foodstuff from a Jew on credit, and he gave him his shield as collateral.
Right, he bought food from the Jews, and the Jews they were on the outskirts of the Medina, and food he was actually, in another hadith it says, 30 صاعا من الشعير, 3 or 30 صاع. صاع, as we said, 4 handfuls, and each صاع about 2.5 kilos. So 30 is about, you could say, 75 kilos of sha'ir. Sha'ir is barley. Prophet didn't have the money, and he had pawned. The Jewish asked for something in return, and as I said, this hadith is amazing. It's amazing and never stopped to amaze me that the Prophet of Allah is the head of the state. He's the Prophet of Allah, and he could have just said to the Jewish man, "Give me the food. I'm not going to give you anything." And not only that, it amazes me more that the Jewish had the guts and the audacity to ask the Prophet of Allah for something to be pawned, yet he's living under his what? Under his control, under his leadership. And also, he knows that the Prophet ﷺ is the most just person. But this is more amazing, which is, how can the Jewish dare to have the strength and the courage to ask for such a thing? That means he knows that the Islam guarantees for him the justice that he can ask, even the head of the state, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I want something in return. Until you pay the 30 sa', how much it is, you pay it by dirham and dinar, then I will give you what? The shield. Because he pawned the shield. The shield costs money. So that is to show that the justice, that this person who is not a Muslim, he is living in Medina, there was not a tribe there to help him, all the Jewish tribe, they left. And yet he was saying to the Prophet, pawn me something. Give me something that until I shows you. The Prophet of Allah, he never said to him, how can you dare to say that to me? I'm the Prophet of Allah. No, he gave him that. So the thing that is being pawned, which we call it, that is to be taken by the person who had pawned, right? But now, as for the benefit of that pawn thing, it is not entitled for the person who is pawning. Meaning, let's say that I lent you 10,000 and I asked for you to give me something to pawn. Give me your house. So I took the house is in my custody, is in my name. So the house is until you pay the £10,000. I'm not allowed to go and rent the house and take the money of the rental. You understand me? The benefit of that pawning is not for me. So if I want to rent it with the permission of the owner who had pawned it, then the rental goes to whom? To the one who had pawned it, not the one who was asking for the pawn, to the one who's in debt. So it is the pawning thing that is entitled for me to keep it until you pay back, or whatever benefit comes out of it. Let's say you pawn your car until you pay me the loan. I credit you for 10,000. That car is your car. I can't use it for my own benefit and go take my wife anything. The car has to be parked there. Okay. Yes, if I need it, for example, in let's say a car park for it, and I can't have a car park for it, then I have to put it in a garage or whatever. Then that person who's pawning, he will be responsible in paying the rental for that car park, not me. I'm just having it here until you pay your money back. So the mashru'iyah, or the legality of this, you could see it from the Quran, and also from the Sunnah, and also from the intellect, because we need something like this, okay, to have the rahim. Also from the hadith of Aisha and hadith of Abdullah ibn Abbas, which he said the Prophet of Allah died while his shield was pawned by the Jewish person. It shows us that we could make a deal with those people who are non-Muslims. Okay, so, and also that the wealth of the disbelievers is to be protected. Okay, so it could have just said to the Prophet, I'm not going to pay you for the 30 sa'. You're a Jewish person. No, he has to be paying it, and also it's being pawned. So we could deal with the non-Muslims. And also this hadith tells us we could deal with those people whom we have something of a shubha, doubt about their money. Is it halal or not halal? So if, for example, making remember when we talked about the sharaka, which is the partnership, I could have a partner which is the non-Muslim. Okay, and I know that the non-Muslim somehow, that their wealth is not 100% halal. We know that. The Jewish people, they depend upon, at that time, on riba. And most of the money is upon riba, which is interest. Okay, so I am allowed to do that. But the one which is I'm not allowed to deal with, two types. One, which is the one who is non-Muslim, whom most of his money is haram. Okay, most of his money is haram. And the second one is that to deal with somebody who's a non-Muslim, whom he will, in my partnership with him, will use, okay, my things in haram or my business in haram. Let's say I'm pawning my car with this non-Muslim or even a Muslim. And then this person who's pawning the car, he's using the car for advertising. He's not advertising his haram business. Like, for example, there's a nice car, for example, putting it in, and then he's advertising his liquor shop with the car in front of him. So this pawn haram because he's using it. He's using that pawn thing for haram. Also, the ones which are not respected from the money or the wealth of those who are non-Muslims from the ones who are fighting the Muslims. So if I'm in war with them, so their wealth is not to be respected. All of this to be benefit from the hadith of Aisha and the hadith of Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhum jami'a. Coming to the following title.
The pawnbroker using the pawned item.
Yes.
It is not permissible for the pawnbroker to use what has been pawned or pledged with him. Earlier, it was shown that any loan that entails benefits is a form of interest.
You see, I've said that, but this is now adding, this is a riba. So you have taken from me 10,000 and I asked from you to bring me your car. Okay, that car, until you pay the 10,000, I'll give the car back. But if I'm going to use the car, that's a benefit. And this benefit, it's like a loan. You're taking a loan from me, and because of that loan, I'm going to return the loan, and also I'm using your car. That's a benefit. You remember when we said a person was borrowing from another person, and then that person started bringing in box of grapes and all of that within the time of the loan? That's all of it riba. Yes, after I finish, I can give him whatever I like on top of that, but not within the time of the loan. So this is like a type of riba.
However, if the pawned item is an animal that can be ridden or milked, then the pawnbroker can ride the animal or milk it if he feeds it and maintains it while it is with him.
Right. So now this is talking about that if the pawned is an animal, the animal is different from the other, which is the car and the house, is that you need to look after the animal. So he's giving you the camel until he pays back his money, whatever he bought, he took from you. So I pawned his camel. So I'm feeding the camel. So if that camel to be fed, okay, then I'm allowed to use whatever comes from the camel according to what I spend upon it. I spend upon it how much on the fodder and all of that. So I could use that for milking, for riding, no problem. So that is, unless the owner, he said, of the camel, now keep that camel, I will be responsible and in charge of looking after you and sending you the fodder and everything. But don't use it. Don't milk it. Whatever milk comes, it comes to me. I'm going to give you look after it, and you give me everything that comes out of it. It was milk or whatever. So we know now that the one which is the animal is different from the car and the house. It is also permissible for that person who's been pawned to pass that to the third person. Okay? So let's say that he pawned with me the car. Okay, it's my responsibility, but I want to put the car with somebody else because I don't have a space. I put it in the house. So I told him to the person, please keep that car with you until that person pays me the money. No problem. I could pawn, for example, as well, the animal. So if I give that animal to the third person, and that third person who's been pawned with, he has been spending money onto that camel or whatever, the animal, he's entitled as well to benefit from the milk or riding the camel. Like, can the pawn thing be more than the money that you've been credited? Yes, could be more, could be less, could be equal. So you borrow from me 10,000. I ask for your house, which costs about 100,000. Or I've asked for your car, which costs 5,000. Or I've asked for whatever, which costs the same 10,000 dirham almost. So it doesn't matter whether it's more or similar or above. Doesn't make a difference. تفضل أبو هريرة.
Abu Hurairah narrated that the Messenger of Allah said, The pledged animal can be ridden if it is pledged, as long as the pawnbroker provides for it, and the milk of the milking animals can be drunk as long as the pawnbroker provides for it. The one who rides or drinks must provide the expenditures.
Right. So this hadith tells us a number of issues. Number one, that you could have the animal to be pwned. Number two, that the person who is pwning is the one who will take the benefit, not the one who's, so the one who is pwning, so the one who's giving that house or giving, he's the one who's going to take the benefit. And for also, it is allowed for you to ride or milk that animal according to how much you spend upon it. What is the hikmah of pwning? Number one, it will prevent the people to play around with the money of other people. If I take his house, he will pay me back the money. So it prevents people from playing around with the money and play and makes the people take things seriously. Also, it is actually from facilitating the loans to go in between the people. And thirdly, the person who's giving his money, he will have more assurance that his money will be given back because he got something has been pwned with him. طيب. Are we going into the following?
Next topic is debt transfer.
Debt?
Debt transfer.
Yeah, it's called al-hawala. Al-hawala. And there's another term which is similar to it, but it's from the other side, as we're going to explain. It's called ad-daman, guarantor. So hawala, transferring the debt to somebody. Guarantor is the person who's offering the money's on me. Right, let's just look at hawala. Fadl.
The lexical meaning of the word hawala means to change, to transfer. As a technical term, the jurists have defined it as the transfer of a debt from one person to another. If a person is in debt and can have another who has the means to take over the debt, then it is obligatory on the creditor to accept said transfer as long as the new debtor has the means to repay the debt.
It's called, he is mali, not just to repay the debt, there is more than that. Mali. What the Prophet he said?
Prophet said, delay in payment by one of means.
By one who is capable to pay back. Yeah, go on. Is
a form of wrongdoing.
Is a form of dhul, oppression.
If one of you has his debt transferred to a rich person, let him accept the transfer.
We would like to change the word rich person. Somebody's called mali, because mali is not just rich. It involves three factors. So if this is as well from the things that Islam brought to facilitate. Let's say that I credited Zubair. So Zubair, he owes me £10,000. And Zubair, he had given also a loan to Wathiq, Saqib, subhanallah. To Saqib, he gave him £10,000. So Saqib is in debt to Zubair for 10,000. Zubair is debt to me 10,000. Right. So Saqib, he's got money and he is capable and everything. So he asked me, please, can you transfer my debt, say to me, to Thaqib? Okay, so you take it from Thaqib. So if I knew Thaqib is number one, he is, he will say it. Yes, I will give the money. And I know Thaqib is capable financially, capable physically. And I know Thaqib, he's not going to drag me for 1 year asking me for the money. Then I should accept. I should what? Accept, take the money from him. Regardless whether the money straight away or after a month, is it due or not. So, man uhila ala mali, falyatba. For some reason, he will be taken to a mali, falyatba. But what does the mali means? Mali means three things. He's capable financially. So the first one, that is the financial. He's capable with his body. I'm going to explain that. So capable, the financial, and also the body, and the third thing, which is the status. What does that mean? Capable financial, that means rich. Capable with his body, meaning I could bring him to the judge in case Thaqib, for example, did not pay me the money, I'm able to take him to what? To the judge. Is there any sort of case where I cannot be taken into the judge? Yes. Let's say that he referred me back to his father. His father, he's sort of referred me back to my father. I can't take my father to the judge. He's my father. So let's say he had given my father 10,000 pounds. And I asked him for 10,000 pounds. Zubayr. Now he's got no relationship to me. He's got no father. My father gave my father 10,000 and I gave him 10,000. So he says to me, okay, take it from your father. I said, no, brother. Because my father said to me, go away or get lost. I cannot give you nothing. I can't take it to the judge. Do you understand me? Because it's my father. So you can't take me. So this is now the condition of cold pattern. By the way, it's a bit warm, Sheikh. You know that. Can we have some air? Really, it's a bit warm. Can we just have some feeling that the less air? Have to be a bit warm. Huh?
I'm freezing.
You're freezing?
Yeah.
Wallahi, I'm really hot. And Arabic, see, I'm hot. So we just, what's the temperature now? What's the temperature, Sakan?
I'll put it at 21.5.
And so that's why it's warm. 20, please. Please, 20. Every morning I come sweat here. Because in my house, 20. Never been more than 20. Right. So also, let's say that you have given credit to a leader, Sultan, 10,000 pounds. You said to me, take it from the Sultan. He owes me 10,000. I can't take the Sultan to the Sultan to judge him because he's a judge himself. So he is not, I cannot bring him physically to the justice, okay, to justice system. I can't bring him to the judge because he's above the judge. And I can't bring my father to the judge. It's my father, okay? But this is the second. Third one, it was his status, meaning you can't refer me to somebody who is known to defer the payment, come back tomorrow, come back the day after tomorrow, come back next year. Brother, this person is known. I'm not going to refer me to him, and he's known that he is all the time, not on time, he breaks his promises, so I will not accept. So, but if those three things are there, alhamdulillah, spot on, I have to be deferred. I have to accept it according to the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But most of the scholars, they say that the transferring to somebody else is not wajib. Most of the scholars. It's only the madhab al-Hanbali which says it is compulsory. And we look here into the issue that the Prophet ﷺ, he said, فَلْيَتْبَعْ. It is not actually is a command, which is to say that if you don't do it, then you're going to be sinned. It is actually more of a highly recommended. Why? Because I have credit to you, and you've asked me money. It was never been in the, into the deal between me and you that one day you're going to tell me, brother, take your money from Saqib. Well, Saqib can be paying me money, yes, and he's mashallah fit, and I could bring him to the judge, and he's not, blah, 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 but I don't feel comfortable to take the money from him. Take your money from him and give it to me. I don't have to go and accept this. But if I accepted it, I'll be rewarded. That's why it's highly recommended. Now, ad-daman, which is the opposite, meaning is like, we call it, it's a person, because it's got similarity to this. Daman means a guarantor. So you will have borrowed from me 10,000. Okay, brother, if you don't pay, who's going to be guaranteeing for you? So somebody says, okay, if he doesn't pay Zubair, I will pay. Now, this person who said that, he's a guarantor. If he didn't pay, you're going to be paying. Why did you put yourself in the middle? So once you have set yourself as a guarantor, and this they take it, for example, when they're renting the flat, they call a guarantor. In case the person does not pay the rent, then the guarantor will pay the rent. In Islam, the word is enough, but now they take, I think, signatures and everything in case he doesn't pay the tenant, and the other people who is guarantor will be paying. Right, tfaddal.
Depositing for safekeeping. The word, how do I say this word? Al-wadi'a.
Al-wadi'a.
Al-wadi'a means to leave something.
Wadi'a is called also in Arabic amana. Trust, amana, wadi'a. Safe depositing, is that what it's called? Fadl.
Here it refers to depositing something with someone for the purpose of safekeeping. Its legal ruling: if a Muslim asks his brother to deposit something with him and to have him safeguard it, it is recommended for him to accept that request if he knows that he has the means to safeguard, as this is a type of assisting one another in piety and righteousness.
Right. Both hawala and rahan and wadi'a, all of them recorded from من العقود الإرفاق والإحسان. This is from the transaction of being kind between each other. So when you accept the pawn, you're kind. When you accept the transferring of the debt to somebody else, it's from the kindness. And also here, al-amana, wadi'a. So I want to safe deposit this with you, please. Keep this money with you. Keep my laptop with you. Keep my car with you. Okay? So this is as well from the thing that would be, we call it being kind, from the kindness. And because of this, from the kindness, is always the person who is doing this kindness is not responsible if anything happens. So he says here that the person who knows that he is capable of looking after this amana, then it is favorable for him, they recommended for him, that is to do that for him. Let's just now, first of all, say that this amana, whether it is money or not money, whether this amana can be with maybe money, I mean like the money I'm saying, whether this is the amana, I'm going to be safe depositing some money with you, or I'm safe depositing with you an item like a car or a laptop or whatever. Now, if there was a return of money for doing so, I'm going to safe deposit with you my laptop, yeah, Zubair. So if you said, Zubair, to me, okay, how long? I said, for 1 year, please keep it until I come back. Then you've asked me for a rent for taking this. So to look after you, I'm gonna, charge you for that. So this becomes ijara. Okay, it's not, so it's become like wadi'a, but it has to be like it's being paid. In such a case, then you are going to be in charge of anything happens to the laptop straight away. Okay, but if he did not, he's doing it for the sake of volunteering, just like, okay, I'll keep your laptop, I'll keep your money, I'll keep whatever, then he is not responsible for anything happens to that money or to that item. Okay, he's not responsible for that unless he had done two things or one of them: ta'addi or tafrid. What is ta'addi? What is tafrid? Okay, so I gave him, okay, something like something that can be expired or can be, I would say, affected by the sun. So please keep this item, whether it's maybe electronic stuff, please keep it in your house until I come. What is month, 2 months, whatever. So this person had put it in the sun, and it's supposed to be kept into the shade. So he made tafrid, or sorry, he made ta'addi, sorry. He made ta'addi or tafrid, meaning that he had made something wrong. He will be in charge if anything happened to the item. Or he plugged it, he put it, and he didn't ask him to plug it, and he plugged it, and he damaged it. So he will be responsible in this case. I gave him a very expensive box of chocolate. Keep it for you until I come back and take it from you. So we took the chocolate. Chocolate's supposed to be put in the sun. So he put it in the sun. He's responsible. Or he put it somewhere where the children can reach it. The children had eaten it. You're responsible. So it's called tafrid or ta'addi. Tafrid means that you are negligent. That's the word for it. Ta'addi, that you have transgressed. So whether negligence or transgression, you are in charge for that. Now, is the wadi'a recommended or is it compulsory? Here the set is it's recommended for me to take the wadi'a of somebody. So somebody entrusted me with something, it's recommended upon me to accept that. No, it sometimes becomes compulsory and can sometimes become haram. When it's compulsory, when it's recommended, when it's haram. So if I, for example, want to leave my house for a year or something. I left my stuff, okay, with the brother. And those other brothers can do that. And he accepted. This is recommended from him. He's going to be rewarded. But let's say that I've been deported. Straight away on the night, I can't even do anything. And I got very expensive items. And I got nobody except for you to keep them until I come back, being deported. You understand? This is a scenario which is I'm creating here. It becomes compulsory upon you to safe deposit this because it's not harming you. Just keep it in the corner until he comes. So it becomes what? It becomes compulsory. It becomes haram if what I'm depositing with you as a wadi'ah or entrusting you with something which is haram. Like some alcohol bottles, keep them until I come back. No, haram, sinful. Bardan, cold, yeah? Okay, maybe they make it to 20.5 or 21. I am not cold, but I just felt when he's gone from this. Right. And when the people come, it becomes warm, very warm. Right. Coldness always keep you on alert, not sleepy. صح? Yes. Alhamdulillah. So the person who is being entrusted with something, his hand يد أمانة. يد أمانة وليست يد ضمان. He's not guaranteed. طيب الله عز وجل ويجب على it's compulsory.
It is obligatory upon the receiving of the item to return the item whenever the depositor requests it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said.
Before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he said here, he is to return it whenever it's been requested, even before the time that he's been set. Brother, keep this laptop with you for a month until I come back. I came back in 2 days. Brother, give me my laptop. He can't say to me, you said 1 month, okay. I have to keep it for 1 month for you. No. I could have it whenever, anytime, because you are depositing it and keeping it from you. You're not going to give it to somebody else. You're not allowed to do that. So it's amana. So the amana should be looking after it. And that's why you're rewarded for that. إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَأْمُرُكُمْ أَن تُؤَدُّوا الْأَمَانَاتِ إِلَى أَهْلِ. Translation.
Verily Allah commands that you should render back the trust to those whom they are due.
See, when the Prophet ﷺ regained Mecca, he asked for the key to open the Kaaba. And after he finished, and all the idols had been demolished, and all the images of Ibrahim alayhi was drawing lots, and all of that has been taken away, he gave the key back to Uthman ibn Talha, who is the housekeeper of the Kaaba. So he gave him the key, and he said, "Al-yawm yawm al-wafa'i bil-bir, aw yawm al-wafa'i wal-bir, aw yawm wafa'in wa bir." This is the day for the day of making fulfillment of what you have promised. So I'm giving you the key back. And the key was with this and is being held by generation to generation until today. The key is with the family of those people who was at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. And they inherit this by them. Have you seen that in a program for this? Yes. SubhanAllah. This key is inherited from the time of the Prophet, even at the time of the Jahiliyyah. The key is with them. Even the king, if you want to go inside, has to borrow the key from them. Now, so it's an etiquette that has been held from the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. By the way, the amana is very important, and we're going to talk, give a hadith of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, which comes into the Ariyah, which talks about the amana. If you're a person that you have neglected the amana, wasted it. Let's just continue with this amana until we finish, please.
Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam also said, return the trust to the one who entrusted you.
Now,
the responsible party. The one who is entrusted with the deposit is not responsible for it unless he was negligent.
Or he transgressed, you have to say negligent. Now,
unless he was negligent or transgressed.
As long as he's not being paid. If he's being paid, he will be responsible. So if you took charge for taking the item, then you have to be now.
Amr ibn Shu'ayb narrated from his father on the authority of his grandfather. The Prophet ﷺ said, if one accepts a deposit, there is no liability upon him. He also narrated that the Prophet ﷺ said, there is no liability upon the one who accepts a trust. Anas ibn Malik narrated that Umar ibn al-Khattab repaid a depositor for a deposit that had been stolen from among his wealth.
Umar al-Khattab is what?
He repaid a depositor for a deposit that had been stolen from amongst his wealth.
No, that's not correct, Francis. It's the opposite. Umar al-Khattab radiallahu anhu he had made Anas radiallahu anhu to be liable, responsible for a trust which is being stolen from his money. So Anas was entrusted by wealth, and it could be by anybody. And Umar Khattab, in his time of his Khilafah, he made Anas to be what? In charge for that money which was stolen. So it's, let's say somebody had given Anas a trust of money. Anas kept it. Somebody stole it from Anas. Umar Khattab had asked for Anas to pay it back. Hang on a second, we said that he's not supposed to be responsible. Then Al-Bayhaqi will solve the query. See, say Al-Bayhaqi.
Al-Bayhaqi said this must be understood as meaning that he was negligent concerning it, and therefore, due to his negligence, he covered it for the other person.
Do you understand me? Otherwise, the translation will not make sense, isn't it? Because of his negligence, he made him to pay it. Negligence, as I said, either بالتفريط or بالتعدد. Negligence, or that he had harmed, he deliberately, for example, he made the children to eat the chocolate, he just put it there. So let's just give, so why is it that the person who has been trusted that is not liable? And you can't say that you are liable, you can't just make a condition upon him unless he takes money, charge for that. Because Allah Azza wa Jalla said, مَا عَلَى الْمُحْسِنِينَ مِنْ سَبِيلٍ. He's a muhsin. He's being kind. And because he's being kind, you have no way to sue a person who's kind. You have no way, Islam doesn't make a way for you to go and sue a person who's being kind to you. So being kind, this is, you're going to treat him and reward him by suing him. Islam doesn't allow you with this. Okay? So if, for example, that you have deposited something with somebody, and then that person later on had claimed that he had given it back to you, the judge will take his say, unless you have a proof. And this happens, Ikhwani. I was in arbitrator in a case talking about £27,000. Two people that are so close with each other, now they are already so enemies to each other. £27,000 because of. So this person, he claimed he gave it back to him, and there's there's a bag. The person did not take the bag, or he took the bag and it was not the whole 27,000. So the thing is, what was this person deposited? Not 27, 40,000. 40,000 with this person, and he put it just in a bag. Carry it back. The other person, he trusted so much his friend, he did not even count it. So when later on they had a dispute with each other, so the brother said, take your money back. I don't want it. So he gave him the money in the bag, like this. The person went to the house and he said, it's not 40,000. So this is where the 27 now coming to my mind. It was 27. There's a missing, but a lot of pounds, thousands. You understand me? So they're asking me, what's the saying of whom? The one who is being trusted. He's the saying will be taken. You have a proof? So that person he trusted you so much, he did not even count the money and put it with him. And when you had a dispute, you took the money, you did not, if you counted it in front of him, yes. But even if you counted it in front of him, he did not count it. He did not count when he took it. He said, you said 40,000, he just trusted you. So the saying of the person who had been entrusted always. Unless he said negligent or he had ta'addi. Ta'addi means gone overboard. Give you an example now, and you're going to be the person who's going to judge. You are the person who's going to give the fatwa. I have entrusted Zubair with my laptop. Laptop, let's say, cost about 10,000. So let's say it's a laptop, which is, wow, £10,000. I'm just saying it's a lot of money.
With diamonds on it.
Yeah, let's say it's a diamond. That's a good way. I have entrusted you with some jewelry. That cost 10,000. That's a good example. And I said to Zubair, keep it in the safe, which I have seen in your father's house. I've seen it in a massive safe, mashallah. I haven't seen anything, but I'm just saying it. In the massive safe of your father's house. That one, keep it there. So what you did, you kept it in your suitcase or a briefcase in the house. Somebody went and raided the house of your father and he stole the money. Are you liable or not?
This is negligent, same as
Negligent. Right. But you did not keep it in the safe, in that suitcase or that briefcase. You kept it in a different safe above in the bedroom, which I haven't seen myself. And you kept it there. Are you liable or not? I said to you to put it in that safe, which I've seen, really bigger. You kept it in a different safe, which is inside the house. Okay, there is it. Are you liable or not liable?
I think so, because you went against what was stipulated.
No, you're not liable.
Okay.
Because you believe that safe is more safer than this safe. Do you understand? Because the saying is yours. Okay. You are the person who is making kindness to me. So you're telling the judge, huh? No, you shouldn't have told me, because he didn't want to tell me about another safe. I might be unfriendly with him, and I'm going to send an army to go and rob him. No, you didn't tell me. But he said to me, he told me that the safe, but he felt the safe is better. Maybe it's the other way around. I could just ask you, please put it in the safe of your father, which is in the bedroom. I haven't seen it, but if he's got a safe there, put it there. And you put it in the safe, which is in the kitchen. Are you liable or not liable?
From the previous one, no.
No. Do you know why? Because you thought that the thief is always going to go to the what? Most secure. He will never go to the kitchen. Never you believe that they're safe in the kitchen. So you put it in the kitchen because you thought it was more safe. It's your word. But if you kept it in a suitcase or a briefcase, which is in front of everybody can take it, that's being, you are actually negligent. If the person has been entrusted, being given the permission to use that safe depositing, and it becomes now different. It becomes qard, meaning a loan, or it becomes ariyah, borrowal. So I've given you the jewelry, and you said to me, can you give me permission to use it for my wife? Have you married yet? No, not yet. I want to use it for my wife at my wedding and all of that. I want to put it in my... So you're going to use it now. This becomes what? Borrow. This is the next chapter. Because it's not became safe deposit. Safe deposit, you're not supposed to use it. But now, he said, oh, you got nice jewelry. Let me just use it as well for my wedding. Okay? It becomes what now? Borrow. It doesn't, okay? This becomes borrow. And then if it becomes a borrow, we're going to talk about it, inshallah, in a minute. For that now.
Lending items at no charge.
It's a lending item, just the borrow. Borrowing is better. Borrow. Al-ariyah or al-ariyah. Al-ariyah or al-ariyah, both is correct. Because it comes from al-uri. Al-uri means nakedness. And nakedness here means it's empty from compensation. There's no compensation. I borrowed something from you and something had happened to it. It's compensation. Unless I transgressed and unless I was negligent. Okay? So I borrowed a car from you. I drove the car. I drove it nicely and everything. Suddenly the engine, that's not my responsibility. Maybe the engine was reaching that such limit and you give it to me. So I'm going to be responsible for paying an engine for 2,000, 3,000? No. Okay? So all of these things which are in the borrow for the benefit, I will not compensate. But if it's out of the benefit, then I'll compensate. Meaning, I borrowed the car, parked it there, and somebody had broken the glass, then I have to be responsible. Because it's not the benefit. The benefit is the car to drive it, but not the windows. The windows, I'm in charge of it. Okay? So I will, but I'm not going to, for example, compensate for how much tread has gone down from the wheels, because I'm using the car. Okay? I'm not going to be charged for this, because this is part of the borrow. I'm borrowing this. So the borrow, ya akhwani, is something just like rental, but this is for no money. And the borrow has to be an item that can be returned. So I can't borrow can I borrow for you, please, for you I want to borrow a plate of curry, full of curry. I can't. I'm going to turn it empty. Or can I borrow from you a loaf of bread? I can't borrow a loaf of bread. You can't rent, remember as well, loaf of bread. Rental has to be for something that you use, then I could give it back. Same thing here with the borrow. It has to be something can be returned back. Right. And as I said, again, this is from the thing which is to do with ihsan, being kind as well.
Its definition and legal ruling. The jurists have defined this as the owner of something allowing another to use that item without any payment or compensation. This is considered a commendable act, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has stated,
وتعاونوا على البر والتقوى.
Help you one another in piety and righteousness.
And also,
The Prophet ﷺ also said, Allah is helping the servant as long as the servant is helping his brother. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
الذين هم عن صلاتهم ساهون الذين هم يراؤون يمنعون الماعون.
So woe unto those forms of prayers who delay their prayers from their fixed times, those who do good deeds only to be seen and refuse small kindness.
Refuse small kindness, and the last one, which is the one that is being quoted here. Fine. Again, just like we talked about the amana, say depositing, the ariya, which is the borrowal, is actually the same thing. It could be haram and it could be compulsory, just like it is recommended. How can it be compulsory? I'll tell you how. You are in need of water, you're about to die because of water, and there is a well, and there is no bucket, and you've got the bucket with you. Brother, can I borrow the bucket? I want to have water. So now this borrow becomes what? Compulsory. Why? Because my life depends upon that bucket of yours. I'm going to fetch water with it. So it becomes haram if I'm borrowing something haram. Brother, can I borrow your knife? I want to kill that brother. Huh? Can I borrow that knife to kill that brother? So this borrow becomes what? Haram. But generally the case, the borrow is recommended. Right. So this is from the chapter of the transactions of ihsan, being ihsan. So it is not me giving you the ownership of that item when you borrow it, and also that I am not allowed, if I borrow it, to go and, for example, hire it to somebody else. So you borrowed from me my laptop. You don't go and hire my laptop to other people. You borrowed me from my car. You don't go and use my car to rent the car for £50. Then it's borrowed from me. You're not allowed to do that. All of that. So you can't allow to hire it or even to lend it to somebody else. You can't lend my car to somebody else except with my permission. Right. Now we come to see compulsory to return it back. Further.
It is obligatory to return the borrowed item. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said,
Same ayah. إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَأْمُرُكُمْ أَن تُؤَدُّوا الْأَمَانَةِ إِلَى أَهْلِهَا.
Verily Allah commands that you should render back the trust to those to whom they are due.
Okay. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he said, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Al-qatlu fi sabilillah, that is killing in the sake of Allah, that means killing in the sake of Allah means being martyred. It will expiate all the sins except for the amana. So it would be said to him, amanatuk. He would say, oh Lord, how can I fulfill my amana, my trust, when the dunya is finished now? I mean the akhirah now, the hereafter. So they will be said, take him to the ditch. Oh, how yeah. So, and then he will see his amana, whatever the borrower it was, exactly on the day it was being given to him, whether it is a laptop or a jewelry, whatever, that thing will be there. And then it will be pushed down, and he has to go down to that ditch to go and chase it up until he goes and gets it. And then he will put it on his shoulders, and he's about to climb up until he thinks he's about to come out. Again, this will slip out of his shoulders, go down, and then he will go back again into that ditch in order to get it. And he will do this continuously and perpetually, subhanAllah. And then he said, Prophet ﷺ, as-salah amana. The prayer, Allah gave it to you as well, a safe depositing with you. That means you have to look after the salah. You have to what to do the salah. As-salatu amana, wal-wudu'u amana. Wal-waznu amana, to make sure that you are just in weighing the things. Wal-kaylu amana, to measure things as amana. And then he had counted lots of things, and most of the strongest amana is the safe deposit, al-wadi'ah. Strongest amana is the wadi'ah. So it was said to the al-Bara, can't you see what Abdullah ibn Mas'ud he said? He said, Wallahi, I've heard this from, he truthful because of Allah Azza wa Jalla. He said, Inna Allah ya'murukum an tu'addu al-amanati ila ahliha, aw li ahliha, ila ahliha. Right. Now we're coming to the responsibility, liability.
The one liable for the borrowed item. The one who borrows something is entrusted with that item, and thus there is no liability upon him unless he is negligent or if the owner lays down such a condition of liability.
So I could lay down, so because here it is not safe deposit. Here you're asking me, before I'm giving you, please keep it up, look after me. I don't have the right to ask, you are liable if you lose it. But here I'm borrowing something from you. So if you said to me, okay, well, brother, if you borrow it from me, You are liable for anything takes of the car. If it's a car, then if accepted, then it'll be here. So if I took the car from you and suddenly the engine busted, I have to pay for it. But if I didn't say anything, usually I'm not what? Liable unless I'm negligent or I have transgressed. Now, Safwan ibn Ayla.
One narrated from his father who said that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to him, when my messengers come to you, give them 30 coats of mail and 30 camels. He said, O Messenger of Allah, is it a loan with a guarantee on it or a loan simply to be paid back? He replied, a loan to be paid back.
Meaning, this is Prophet of Allah when he regained Mecca, and then there was, say, to a month and a half, those people from Hawazin and Thaqif, they wanted to fight the Muslims in the Battle of Hunayn. So the Prophet ﷺ now, he wanted to prepare the army. So Safwani was having lots of money. He's a newcomer to the deen. So even he hasn't embraced Islam. So the Prophet ﷺ, he sent a messenger to him to go and borrow from him. And that is 30 shields, 30 camels. So he asked the Messenger of Allah, is this going to be a borrow that is going to be guaranteed? So in case, for example, let's say the shield has been destroyed, you're going to compensate for that or not? Or you're going to return it back as it is, whatever has been there? He said, no, mu'adda, it's not madmun. So I'm going to be borrow, and then I'm going to return it back as we have used, for example, the sword, maybe scratches there on that. It will be the same. But if the sword has been cut, we're not going to replace that. So he accepted. Go ahead, Amir al-San'ani, he says.
Al-Amir al-San'ani explained, a loan with a guarantee means that if it is destroyed, the person will receive back its price. A loan to be returned means that as long as the object is intact, it will be returned, but if it is destroyed, the person is not guaranteed its price back. This hadith is evidence that the borrower does not guarantee the object unless required by the lender. As stated earlier, this is the clearest of the opinions.
Because we have three opinions regarding the ariyah, which is the borrow. Some they said it is guaranteed. So if you borrowed something, you have to guarantee it if something happens to it. Some they said no, it is not guaranteed unless stated. Unless you state, so it's not guaranteed until stated, because the person who is taking the borrow, he is his trusted hand. Yadu amana. The third opinion, it is guaranteed when it is being stipulated. The correct opinion is not guaranteed unless stipulated. It's not guaranteed unless what? Stipulated. I borrowed something from you, I'm not guaranteeing. Unless you said to me, oh, well, if something happened to my car, then you're responsible for that. But this is now, alhamdulillah, finished. And what time is it prayer? 10, quarter past 10?
10:30.
Right, we'll finish each other before that. So if you have any question regarding what we have heard, got too many things. I can't go to the luqata. Luqata is a very interesting topic, which is the lucky found. They call it here?
Lost and found.
Lost and found. Yeah. They call it here lucky found as well. Lucky found. You find it something by luck, no? In English. Yeah, it's lucky found. Is it, what do you call it in English?
A lucky find. Yeah.
A lucky find.
Founders keepers.
Don't know.
It's the same.
Can somebody maybe help us on the if Ahmed there, lucky found. What is the meaning of lucky found?
According to Power Thesaurus, noun, an instance of unexpected benefit or good fortune, a windfall, fortune.
Lucky find.
Noun, destiny, especially favorable.
Okay, lucky find. Right.
Sheikh, a couple of questions. The pawning, do you have to specify the length of the...
Do I have to say specify?
The length of the pawning, or do you just leave it in general? It could be
The pawning is depending upon the payment of the debt. So, for example, you say to him, I'm not going to give it to you until you pay me the money back. Yeah.
So when you loan somebody something, normally you set a date by which they would expect to pay back.
Yeah, so that as soon as you pay back, then you take the loan, you take the pawn. So he took from me £10,000. So I said to him, give me your mobile. Let's say it costs £10,000. Once he pays it, we said, but how long are you going to take it, this £10,000? He said to me, well, I'll pay it back in 10 months or 1 year. Okay, after 1 year, I'll give him the mobile back. Okay, if I don't know, this is a good question, which I haven't really dealt with. Let's say that the loan was not paid, and I've got the part is specified. Now I have the right to sell this. Your mobile is gone. I have the right to sell this and take my money out of this, unless we agree, me and you. You say to me, brother, I know that the loan. Please, can you extend the loan? Yeah, extend the loan, but the mobile stays with me. We extend the loan. But then when I decided, okay, give me more extension, and that's it. I'm gonna sell this. I got the right to sell this. So if I sold it, 10,000, then I'll give you the khalas, 10,000. If I sold it 10,000 plus, I'll give you the plus. If it's 10,000 minus, then you have to compensate for the remaining.
The item form is, it would be equal value or more than that.
You said that. So that could be the equal, less, or more.
Is it
If it's less, then it doesn't increase.
Yeah, this one.
No?
There's less.
I mean, but at least there is something. Usually it is the case, less, not that much.
Yeah.
Because even if you give me something more, markets, flips, goes up and down the market. It's always similar, something similar. Most of the people take more, because in case they'll take more. So your loan is 10,000, they take a house with 100,000. So you're 100. So you'll be shivering if you don't really pay the loan back. Okay.
I have a question about all of debt transfer. It doesn't make sense in my head.
Yes, debt transfer.
Yeah. So from what I
Could you
understand,
just put the microphone on, please?
so the debt transfer, from what I understand from debt transfer is, I loaned somebody £10,000, and now you're asking money from me, but I say go to them.
Let me just explain to you so you can explain it. Remember the example I gave? You are in debt to me for £10,000.
Yeah.
Mr. Saqib is in debt to you for 10,000.
Okay. And I just say take it off him.
Yes, that's it.
That's it.
That's
But-
it.
but
You deferred me to him.
Who is the person that is obligatory to accept?
That's me.
You're
But we
obligatory.
said obligatory according to Al-Hanbali.
Okay.
Most of the scholars, they said it is not. It's recommended. Remember we said Jumhur, the majority of the scholars said it's not compulsory. Because as I said, why are you referring me this? Because I don't know. I don't want to speak to the guy. I don't know. Or maybe I had a dispute with him. I don't want to see his face. Sorry, not you. As an example. You give me the 10,000. You take it from me, give it to me. Khalas, I've got the right. But if I accept this, then it would be rewardable for me.
What if one of the debt is a haram, i.e. interest based? You still transfer it on?
Like, for example, I don't understand. For example,
His loan is
my loan can be haram because I'm giving him halal loan.
now a haram loan.
Yes,
Can I transfer it
doesn't matter. Once the money comes out from the person, I don't care about this person, how he made the money. Money, when it comes out of the person, it does not carry with it whatever the money has been made, unless the money has been stolen. So if I know that person is referring me back to him, he's a thief, I don't want to take his money because the money will be haram in itself. But how the money is being made? So the father of yours, for example, God forbid, is a gambler. He made millions. The money is haram on him, but if he dies, inheritors like yourself have it halal 100%. SubhanAllah.
I think the brother what he meant that
What you mean is different. What he meant. Alhamdulillah, that person's soul.
yeah.
But him,
No, not this
but
brother.
about this brother here.
So if we are in a chain,
So we're talking about which question? Him?
question.
Question.
Yeah.
Are you? Hang on. Before he starts the question, are you clarified with my answer?
Yeah.
What do you mean mostly? No.
Yeah.
Don't seek help when you say you want to say something else. Let me deal with him because I want to understand from him. What is the most? Don't give him help. I don't like this deferring of the questions. Yeah.
If one loan is interest based, i.e. his one is, that he said to him, with every year going on, it's going to accrue 5% interest.
Who's the loan? This is the example of ours.
So I have
He had lent this person with money, okay, Zubair, to him with riba. Hang on, no. Him, no. No, Akhwani, each one has got a different question. I know what I'm talking about. Let the person ask the question. So please, I know what I'm talking about. You're giving him a different, you make him confused. So he had lent him, okay, money with interest. Is that what you're talking about? But he doesn't know his question, you see. I know he doesn't know his question. So he lent him with riba, yes? Okay. It doesn't matter, I could be different on him. Answer the question. So this question will be different now. You want to have a question with?
Is he allowed to pay you riba then?
No.
On that
He's gonna
loan?
give me the money, not pay me riba.
Because like
My 10,000.
yeah, but say it's like so you just accept the 10,000, yeah,
I want my money, 10,000.
and then he won't have to pay him. Yeah, it's between you and.
He had accepted for me to defer me this. He cancelled his riba with him, I don't care. He cancelled his riba with him, I don't care. But I take my 10,000. I'm gonna take extra or less. 10,000. You know something funny? I know with this issue that each person he asks a question, another person he, mashallah, out of Jazallah khairan. I'm not saying he jumps in and then he says something else, another person becomes unsure. Because that's why Sheikh Al-Bani used to teach us this. Hang on, let me just finish with him. I'll deal with you. It could be a different question. The question was different now. Totally different. Now,
The question that arises often with loans is that you lend some, let's stick with the 10,000.
10,000.
So you give somebody 10,000.
I gave somebody 10,000. I gave him 10,000.
Today's worth 10,000.
Are you all of it? Everybody's a witness now? I gave him 10,000.
2 years. 2 years, that money devalues with the inflation.
Okay, so we've asked this question before. So this money, 10,000, he gave 10,000, became costing 5,000. This is true. In not 2 years, let's say 10 years. It cost him yes. So we didn't remember when we talked about the loan. Anybody tell me the answer?
Money is for money, gold is for gold, carrots, everything
So it has to be, you give 10,000, whatever the value or devalue.
It doesn't.
I'm going to refer this to the panel here. The question, everybody, that if I have borrowed from somebody 10,000 pounds 30 years ago, well, the 10,000 pounds is worth 30,000. 10,000 is worth 30,000. Let's say 50,000. Worth 50,000 this year. So at the time of the borrow, it was 10,000. Now, after 30 years, it became that 10,000 in terms of value money, it brings 50,000. So am I going to give him 50,000 or I'm going to give him the 10,000? I'll leave that to the panel. Can anybody answer the question? Yeah, further.
10, otherwise it's interest.
No, if conditions, river.
So it's going to be 10,000.
Otherwise it's interest.
10,000,
10,000.
10,000, 10,000, 50.
I think it's value.
Anybody for more? 50, 50 once, 50 twice?
I think it's value for value, not the amount.
The value for the value. So the 10,000 worth how much is the value? The value. Okay, what do you think? 10,000, not the how much is the value. What do you think? 50,000. That's okay with the bodies. I want to just see how the people have been listening to the talks or not. Let's go to the brothers who are. Who's gonna put your hands down unless you want to answer the question?
We also gave.
Faisal, tfadal. No. Abdullah, tfadal.
More realistic, which was my question, was in 2 years' time, the money is worth like 12,000.
Yeah, no, 12,000 is not really that much different because this is something else. Yeah. No.
Most people are not going to pick up the
No, we're not talking about inflation here. We're talking about more. Like let's say, for example, the currency had been hit.
It goes the other way.
Let's say, for example, when I borrowed the 10,000 from you, okay, the 10,000, the money was rubbish currency. And the currency now, because when I borrowed it from you, it was time of war. And the currency was rubbish. I borrowed 10,000. Now, the time is not in war. Do you understand me? Or vice versa. Let's say I borrowed in the time, which is 10,000, when the country was strong. Now the country has been invaded. 10,000 is worth 1,000. Do I pay you the 10,000 which is worth 1,000? Or I pay, do you understand me? Or worth, what is the money? Yeah. The panel, Fadal ya Abdullah. Ya Abdullah. I can't hear you. You have to unmute yourself. Faisal. Oh, maybe they can't unmute themselves. Hang on a second. Hang on. Yeah. It's because it's me. Fadal. Faisal, Shammam. Ya Khwani, talk. Allow everybody. تفضل يا شمام.
Ahsan Allahu ilayk. Due to the reasoning being something extreme, such as the country being hit with war, then the change would be valid, and you would have to give back the 50,000.
So
it
the
would change.
answer is, if this was the case, what we mentioned, that when I borrowed the money from this person, okay, I borrowed from him 10,000, and the 10,000 was a lot of money. Now the country's in war, and the 10,000 is not worth anything. Let's say the 10,000, when I borrowed it, it was equivalent to $10,000. 10,000 pounds, that's 10,000. But the country came in war, and the 10,000 now is worth $1,000. There's a loss of 9,000. So you're saying I will pay him what is equivalent of that money to the dollar, for example, to the country which was not being in war. Correct? Shaman, correct?
Yes, Shaykhana.
You're right. 100%. Do you understand me? 100%. So I borrowed from you 10,000, or gave you 10, or borrowed from you 10,000, and the 10,000 was worth 30,000 or $10,000. But the war, the country's in war, then plunged down this currency. This 10,000 became $1,000. No, I have to give you what is equivalent to that money, because linked. The money is always, Ikhwani, it is the currency here, you know, which is the pound notes. It hasn't got it's not really for gold. Who said it's for gold? It's not. It's all a convention. You know that. It's nothing to do with that, how much gold this country has. No, it's more complicated than this. That this pound of ours goes from $1.5, 1 pound. Remember, $2 it was before. Now is 1.2625 of a dollar. It's nothing to do with the gold. The gold has been sold. We don't have gold here. Gold has been sold.
Your example is the extremes.
I'm getting to this. I'm getting to this.
So it's the example of 10,000.
I'm going to answer because I caught you. Wait. So this question of this is correct. Now we're talking about inflation, talking about this extreme. Let's say talking about 30 years ago, I wish the pound is this pound, plunging down and just not that much. I borrowed 10,000. Now I'm returning it back after 30 years. How much do I return it back? 30, or the equivalence of that, which is, sorry, I give it back 10,000, or I give it back 30,000, which is equivalent of inflation-wise. Anybody would like to answer this question?
I think it's 10,000.
I think 10,000. 100% is 10,000. 10,000 is 10,000. But out of my, you could say, generosity, that I know that this person had given me the money when the 10,000 was worth 10,000. You see, this is from the, you could say, penalty, or not penalty, the hardship that the lender has to experience. That's why you're lending, you're going to get a lot of reward. So when you lend this money, you have to expect that sort of deflation and inflation and all of this. Okay? But we said, Prophet said, the best of you is the one who pays the best in repaying back. So when the Prophet had this Bedouin man came to him, and he started saying harsh words to him. I gave you such and such camel. Where is my payment back? And what is campaign is about to go and beat him up. The Prophet said, no. The person who's got right, he's got his own saying. Let him. He was harsh to the Prophet. So the Prophet said, go and look for him, which is for the same camel that I have taken from him. They looked. They couldn't find the same age. It's all of them above. And above age means more pricey, more expensive. So they gave it to him. He gave it to him. More pricey, more camel. So he said, Jazakallah, Barakallahu, Barakallahu fika ya Rasulullah, qad awfaytani haqqi. You have given me my full right. So the Prophet said after that, Ahsanukum dayna, Ahsanukum qada. The best of you is the best of you, the one to repay. The one who repays his debt better. And the Prophet of Allah, he had given him better than what he has. So no problem if after the loan you gave 10,000, and this is another 3,000-4,000, Jazakallah khairan, for being kind to me. Because the 10,000 was much more than that. And I remember I told you about Sheikh Al-Albani was the opposite. You remember that? Who was here? Sheikh Al-Albani was the opposite. SubhanAllah. As the opposite is more generous. Told you about the story, if you refer back to it. Story says that this woman, she had her house going to be sold by the bank or something. They'd taken the house from her. She couldn't pay them. She came to the sheikh and she wanted 7,000 pounds. 7,000 dinars at that time worth at least 20,000, 30,000 this time. She doesn't know who the sheikh. So he went to send his students to go and check the story of hers. And they said it's correct. And she had no husband. She had her kids as well, orphans. So the sheikh gave her the 7,000. And he just put a piece of paper and she said she's going to be paying it within time, years, like for example, every month, such and such money. Took some years. Now, after she had paid the last payment, and the sheikh, by the way, has got a safe in his book, in his library. Okay, he's got a safe. So after she finished the payment. Usually, she's a woman. She give him extra because it's like a law khayrah, if she wants to give. You remember? But the sheikh, after she paid back, he gave her 1,000 as a gift. The opposite. Rahmatullah. He gave her 1,000. He took it. This is our brother who lives with him from the sheikh, and he said the sheikh 1,000. He gave it to her. So,
Yeah, similar question. So let's say I have a friend in France.
oh, we have almost 10:30 now. Subhanallah, the time flies like this. Tafadhal.
Yeah, so I have a friend in another country with another currency. I ask him to, like, this happens to me. So I ask him to lend me 1,000 pounds. So he converts 1,100 euros to 1,000 pounds, right? When I want to give him back his money, I want to send him his euros, right? Shall I give him back 1,000 pounds and he might receive less than 1,100? Or shall I send him 1,100 euros?
You have to send him 1,100 euro.
Whatever he used to.
1,100 euro. Otherwise, it becomes riba. You have to send him the same money that he gave you. In euro. No, send him in euro. Very good questions. Alhamdulillah, we're learning. By the way, this is for necessity when you send the money through the money exchange. Otherwise, it's supposed to be hand to hand. But we don't have so we're not really allowing anybody to go and work into an exchange shop because you're going to involve into riba. But if you want to change your money, no problem.
When it comes to like trading stocks and trading.
Crazy? What?
When it comes to like trading in general,
Yeah.
is that permitted? How you take stock?
Trade?
Trading.
Trading.
Yeah.
I thought training. Trading is halal. Prophet ﷺ, Allah had put barakah in the tijara.
Stocks and shares. Stocks and shares.
Stock sharing, trading, whatever they call it. You talk about the stock sharing? Stock share, stock market. The stock market, you can't just say halal like this or haram like this. Well, you have to ask about a specific thing. I think to point the question and just give me on stock. Please, can you talk about the stock market? I can't, because there's things halal, there's short-term shares, there's long-term shares, there's very quick shares.
So if you were to invest,
no, you investigate your question before we give us something.
Yeah.
Now,
another concrete scenario: someone entrusts me with a amana, right? He travels for 1 month. Then I have an emergency travel also. Can I entrust someone else with his amana?
it's a very good question. So I am a person who is being entrusted with my amana to keep it with me. But I had something emergency, let me not to be in the same place where the amana is. Can I take this amana with me or give it to somebody else? Or the best thing is to ask that person. Let's say if he told you keep it, you keep it, take it with you, take it with you. But if let's say, worst scenario, he didn't have any communication. Making it difficult, I have no communication. Then you do what you think is the best, because your hand is the hand of a man. So if you took it with you and there was something had happened or somebody robbed you, you have no daman. You're not liable for it because you've done what you think is the best. You tried to call him, he's not there. So you took it with you, or you kept it with somebody else, and the other person being robbed, you get okay, no problem, because you are the muhsin. Everything can happen these days. طيب. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. So next week you're gonna be talking about what? Al-luqata, the lucky find or lost and found properties. And this is these things are touching the people's life. They don't know anything about it, and then when something happened, they keep asking. So why did you come to the class and learn about it? Now, exactly.